Hello, good morning. This is Falcon's Frontier. It's for the journey. We're at the journey point, and we have the Starlifter ready to deploy. So, without further ado, this is Falcon's Frontier welcoming everybody aboard. Let's begin. The impressive, sleek lines, the Crusader Industries' corporate functional identity, and the way in which these mechanisms open and close. Specifically, what's more spectacular is the front loading bay, and how that closes, especially with the retraction. We have tested this in a previous video a few months ago with the testing this ship, the Crusader Industries showroom. We have for 24 hours the opportunity to fly this spacecraft through the verse. So let's journey on up to the spectacular, sizable cargo hangar and the impressive bay, and watch the front loading bay come to a close. We'll journey on to Microtech, land this ship, open plateaus and icy plains, but a spectacular practice and an opportunity to see all the little mechanisms that make up the subtleties and excellence that defines the detail in some of these impressive spacecraft. Journey on out. We'll also sit in our habitation area as we're coasting across the verse. Let's it was a great effect to watch some of the light reflections that occur in different lighting modes, in different spaces. So let's open the door here. So there's no power, which again, another added feature of the spectacular engineering module. We'll go and enable the systems. The emergency override. We'll have a look at opening and closing these little compartments, each one offering a depth and detail and approach in terms of its mechanisms, how it's used. So let's head on over and take, for the first time here, Starlifter.
Crusader Industries, a journey worth taking.
Particularly impressive when you really appreciate the size of this spacecraft, almost fully extended and taking up the entire large hangar bay here at the rest and relax point in orbit above our core. So let's request our departure. It'll be quite fun to do some missions or tasking, some hauling missions. Although our meager initial taskings are quite small. A couple of SCU put in the center of the Starlifter. Do some hauling. Yeah, quite an interesting test. Also, you can really get and appreciate the inertia of the ship. So let's journey on out. Immediately feel the inertia, the size, as you haul this huge spacecraft into the dark. The design aesthetic continues to evolve from the A1, C1, C2 flagship of the Starlifter. Let's return back to the Starlifter and wander around the spacecraft. It's journeying on through now. Hopefully we won't glitch out of the spacecraft, and we'll be able to wander through. And there we have the opportunity to land on the planets as well as we reach our destinations. Down on the surface and simply sit in the habitation area, full quantum drive enabled, on our way to Microtech. It's such a wonderful ambience, a very fast vessel. Recreation, habitation. So there's the recreation area. You can see that they've increased the interactivity even further, especially with adding these interactive spaces from the engineering module to additional fire extinguishers, the appropriate modules that once more add another layer in functionality. Yet the espresso machine, after all the engineering upgrades, is not yet functioning. Let's take a seat. Really appreciate what it must be like to coast through the stars in the solitude of the verse and sit comfortably at our table here. Great opportunity to do a bit of reading, read some passages for some great books, great science fiction novels. We might do that. We might sit down here when we're nestled in the comfort of the journey and read some passages. A great Armstrong making moment, especially when you open the front part of the ship. Such was the depth in the journey. We have now reached our destination. great to do a cargo mission with this spacecraft. I'll head back to our corp as well for some further activities. And there, the glare, the Stanton reflects of the snowy plains beyond the protective hull of the Starlifter as we look straight at Microtech. That's a spectacular sight of the glare. Oh, we seem to have zoomed out of Microtech. So let's calibrate and head directly on down.
Quantum travel engaged. Quantum travel complete.
A very impressive view, and there's some very impressive locations that make up this space. See the entry. That's certainly improved the atmospheric entry.
Shields on.
And obviously this was designed for cargo missions, but really is particularly impressive as we get ever closer to our touchdown here. We'll land, have a wander around the spacecraft in this unique environment. We've got so many different areas to explore and different places where we can really appreciate the profile, design and scale of this ship here. Touchdown properly from our corp to Microtech. Let's shut the engines, systems off. Gone out. A great moment as we open the forward bay doors. A very alien-esque kind of approach here with the circular tunnels connecting parts of the bridge to the cargo area. Especially with these doors and the locking mechanism. take our time, make sure that we're not too rushed, but be conscious of the time. Obviously, certain spacecraft have the opportunity to sit atop a forward-looking deck at the very top of the spacecraft, where you can observe the landscape whilst you're sat at a observation or an observation deck, which is particularly impressive. Of the huge cargo bay, we'll do a mission ensuring that we fulfill Crusader Industries' Starlifter for what it was built for: cargo hauling and ship hauling, for that matter. So that's pristine moment, coupled with the shadows in the silhouetted bay doors, the ramp leading out. This is an exceptional spacecraft to embrace those Armstrong moments. The weather is certainly temperate. Minus 12 degrees, no problem. Solitary, quiet space somewhere on the surface of Microtech. Was taking in the reflections and the views of the spacecraft set against the icy plateaus here. That's what the focus here with Vulcan's Frontier is about. More so absorbing the ambience and experiencing the spaces and just appreciating the spectacle that these places offer. I was unsure if you're hearing the residual auxiliary systems to make up this spacecraft, or if the wind is passing through, creating this effect, causing the sound to add to its already very present stature. That's one thing particularly with spacecraft in the verse, is their elaborate and highly detailed gear struts. Was an intriguing thing to witness, especially some of the elaborate gear struts such as the reclaimer. Let's head on out and see if we could do a bit of a perspective view of the Starlifter set against the light here on Microtech. We're quite fortunate that we found a location that is both temperate, silent, and particularly artistic. If we do remove our helmet, is going to introduce some hypothermia. The quite subtleties in the verse as you catch the light and seek inspiration in moments of ambience and wonder through these worlds defined imagination, catching the light and experiencing the inspiration here with Falcon's Frontier as it's the journey. Okay, so had a little bit of a moment. We have a marker in which we were repositioned out beyond the into our corpse orbit as singular without any spacecraft. So we had to self-respawn and terminate so we could continue the journey. So that is why the marker is there, but it was a true science fiction moment. There was the ultimate fusion between nature and technology. It does echo the ideas of both Asimov, his subtleties, and of a great science fiction writer, Ian M. Banks. The science fiction world of Mr. Banks. Ian M. Banks, the late Ian M. Banks, from the player of games to inversions, to consider Flebas, space operas, and obviously various classic writers, pulled with the spectacular meditations by the great Marcus Aurelius. Books to read whilst you're journeying through the verse. Okay, what we'll do now is we'll retract, close the front rear ramp. Head on over to close the front. Again, exceptional light play through spaces, symmetry, and shadows, which really add to the in-depth ambience. That's the whole aim with Vulcan's Frontier. We will be actively participating in some action in the verse as well, but it's in these sessions less of the run and the gunning, as it were, and more so the subtleties in the space.
Engines on.
Apologies for the slight vibration there. And we've clipped into the... That's what we don't want to happen. So let's watch now as the gear retracts. Let's rise up. And head on over for some Microtech skimming in the Starlifter. The momentary focus and an ambience that is synonymous with these spacecraft. But what we'll do now is perhaps what we'll do is we'll slow down and journey and land on the one of the ports here and see perhaps if we can do a couple of consignment missions.
Here we
And we have a large hangar this time. It's particularly interesting to do a few consignment missions with the time that we have with the Starlifter, which is now counting down 23 hours. It's going to be quite a challenge. In fact, we did want to try and test the Starlifter in various locations. And we'll still get to do that as we do those consignment missions.
Into new Babbage.
So let's conclude the session as we stand here looking out of the window, the huge Ambience terminal viewing platform, as we cast our sight outwards over the frosty, icy lakes, rivers, and mountainous cityscape that is this hypertech city. In moments, both in reflections and ambience, defines the verse. Until next time, this is Falcon's Frontier, wishing you a safe, productive, onward journey. Stay inspired. Goodbye for now.
Remember, your belongings belong to you. Keep a careful watch on all personal items. From the best in shopping, dining, and entertainment, be sure to visit New Babbage's renowned
Quiet. Hear you loud and clear.
Tired of travel? Why not rest at Vanessa's newly renovated accommodations, located downtown with a luxurious Aspire ground? Well, thanks for listening.